Dennis White's in the house. All right, Dennis is in.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Good to see my man Dennis White. Always good to see Dennis. We'll be seeing the other young gentleman, Zach White, here in a few minutes over at the Kickback Jack. Looking for Zach in a few. Dennis is back on board. Let's go back to some of our games from last week and talk about those tonight, Dennis, as we get you kind of locked in. How about this? Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get all things lined in and with Dennis White, and we're looking at last week's game over Dudley. We had Zariq Rush, 209 yards, 3 touchdowns. Didn't see much. I told Joe, Sierra News and Record, didn't see much rust on Rush last week once he got warmed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, you and I talked about the timing. When Rush first got in, Southeast was keying on him. They were not allowing him to show any type of explosion. If something took place at halftime, a transformation, we saw a totally different Zariq Rush in that second half than we did the first half. You and I sometimes talk about Superman. He turned from Clark Kent to Superman during halftime. You and I sometimes our analogies, we laughed and joked. What was in the drink, the Gatorade or the water? And whatever was in the Rush water, it really changed the whole tempo of that ball game.
What did you think about Dudley having lost a couple of quarterbacks? New quarterback comes in. Austin Hooker takes over. He runs his show. You lost some guys on defense, but once Dudley got fired up, they got determined. They pretty much took over that game and ran away with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use old basketball terminology for Mr. Hooker. He has ice water in his veins. This kid is it's in his DNA. His dad and his brother Hendon now is at Virginia Tech, and I believe that what you said, and I agree with you. I think he's going to be inserted into the role now, whether he's backing up or perhaps the starting job, because he came in with poise, he came in with confidence, and he came in different than Monroe. He came in knowing that, hey, this is all we have. It's left up to me. And so what we have to do is to look at his production, and he did an outstanding job, managed the game as a veteran. He did an outstanding job.
He did a good job, too. Plus, he also allows Dudley to put the other guys on defense more. They can focus more on defense. He runs the offense. You've got Monroe who can play defense outstanding. You've got as well over there Simpson when he's healthy. He gets healthy again. He can play defense. They can spend more time on defense, and Hooker can take over on the offense if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that is different between Hooker and Simpson is Simpson agility, Simpson ability. He's very elusive, but Hendon is cool, not Hendon. Austin is cool, calm, and collected. He's more of a student of the game. He can study defense. He know how to read defense. And hey, when you got Zariq Rush doing what he's doing, that made Hooker a lot comfortable. That didn't put him in a position like it did Quad Monroe to throw the ball.
What about Hendon? Do you still see Hendon eventually maybe leaving out of Virginia Tech if things stay the same? Maybe come back to NC-A&T, take over there? Because you've got Lamar Raynard over there now. Lamar, I think, is a junior, will be a senior next year. And if Hendon transferred, he'd have to sit out next year. We're just hypothetically speculating now, speculation. But if he came in, he'd sit out next year. Raynard's senior season, get to practice with the team, work out. He'd take over the next year. He'd have 4 years.
And I agree with you 1,000%.
And the way A&T's playing now, hey, why not? A&T's, when they beat Charlotte, beat that Clue kid. I listened to the game last Saturday night, and when Franklin Mac McCain ripped off that interception, took it back to the house. I mean, A&T's doing some good things right now.
Yes, when you beat an FBS school as an FCS school, that is big. That is huge. And this is their second or third year showing the FBS, hey, we can play as well as you bowl selected guys can. We don't have the type of playoff system that you have. That's the difference. FCS is considered a D2, so to speak, and the FBS is D1. But Hendon Hooker, I think he can fit in. He's going to go somewhere where he's going to be productive because A&T is his home, is his backyard. He know all about A&T. He was born and raised at A&T. He know all about it, so he'll fit in good with that system. But I can see Hendon Hooker leaving and getting a starting job, if not at A&T, somewhere in North Carolina.
Things to think about as we look it over. High school football, big night tomorrow night coming up, and big night tonight talking about those games. Football in focus at the Kickback Jacks on Battleground Avenue. Kick back and relax at Kickback Jacks. Good football, good food, good fun. Got a big pro game tonight coming up. Got the think it's the Chargers and the Rams. No, the 49ers and Rams. LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, Rams not on TV. Got some big games Saturday. Got Eastern Guilford. Only lost last year one game. Did not lose during the regular season. Have 2 regular season losses this year. I asked Joe Sierra, are you pushing the panic button down at Gibsonville? Do you push the panic button? Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Right. I think that time is of an essence, and because 2 or 3 more could put you real deep back in the playoff, and you'll be forced to play a tough top team. And you and I have seen that can be an early exit. So now I think Eastern Gifford is in a place that they have to play football. What we done last year, that's over.
Right.
You have to, and your key word,
whole new direction now, new team, new
absolutely.
Group, right.
Your key word that we're using this season is finding your identity.
Let's just go find our let's also find out what conference we're in to go for this conference championship this year. We're not in the same conference. We're a new one. Let's find the name of this conference. Let's go win this conference. We got to beat Southeast. Got to beat some other guys that are pretty tough in this conference. Let's go get this conference title.
Yeah, absolutely. Because winning the conference will negate your losses. It's one game will be an endowment game, so that certainly can be wiped off. And your conference in the state of North Carolina, your conference play is your ticket to getting into a top playoff spot. And so that'd be huge. But I think Eastern still have a legitimate shot. I think they're still a legitimate team. They just have to find their identity and play Eastern type of football and don't deviate from that. And Andy, when you have a coach like Coach Robinson applying for big jobs, and then you come back this season and you see the team winning streak is over, it makes you think, and people are certainly looking at it, talking about it. That's something you and I talked about. Once you start looking for these top jobs, you still have to take care of home. No diminish on Robinson at all, but just how people will look at things.
And you look at Coach Rolfes, who went to Page for Northwest. Northwest is struggling some now. They could be 3-3 if they fall to Reedsville tomorrow night. Absolutely. And Coach Rolfes should be 5-1 after Southern Guilford tomorrow night. So you kind of look at the choice he made right now. It's starting to look pretty good for him. What about Smith? They're 3-2, looking good for Smith right now.
Smith is one of those teams, Andy, that is coming into their own. You and I talked about Smith when we saw Smith over at the Jamboree at Dudley during the summer. Last year at the Jamboree, they had an outstanding Jamboree. You and I saw Smith is on the move, and then they went down. Well, this year they didn't have the best Jamboree, and they're having a good season.
Yeah.
So you kind of
they've won three straight wins now, and playing low-scoring games. They won one. They lost a game to Southeast 11-6. Won last week 14-11. So they're playing some good tight games.
In their confidence, when you get a team like Smith, confidence up, that is big for that type of team. They got a new stadium now, and they're winning in the new stadium, and so maybe that's what they needed, something new. And then what we're talking about, I don't know if I got an email from all the past coaches. Coach Brewington, one of our past players, died. Danny Pender. I know you probably remember Danny Pender with the championship because he was a center.
Daniel Pender?
Daniel Pender.
Okay.
He was a center. He was on with the offensive line group that you brought in when you brought
we got him on video somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Wow,
yes, sir.
Daniel
When you
Pender.
brought in that offensive line.
From Smith.
From Smith.
Wow.
That was blocking for Elijah Jordan. You brought Elijah, and you had the whole offensive line in.
Yeah, because he said not to just single out a couple of guys, bring them all in, get them all recognition.
Absolutely. And you had the whole offense, and he was the center, Danny Pender, and condolence to him and his family. Mass Tech, so all the coaches, like all of us was talking about it, just happened all of a sudden, and that's huge because he's only 21 and 22
so
years
natural
old.
causes.
Natural causes.
Wow. So, man, Coach Brewington doing very well down at Southview, 5-0 to start the year, and his son quarterbacking his team. So he was another coach who was looking maybe to head toward one of those jobs and stayed at home, and it's going pretty good for him.
Yeah, and that's something you and I talk about. People don't realize that you and I have so much conversation on the coaching carousel and who's staying and who goes. So when you look at who stayed and who goes, and you look at the record, it is indicative of what they could have done somewhere else versus where they are. And sometimes, man, you're like, hey, I'm glad I stayed,
right?
Or I'm glad I went, in cases of that. And even when we look at Coach Brown over at Grimsley, I think that, and you and I talked about the 4 or 5 year plan, he's going to be one of our other highly sought.
Stay the course.
Stay the course, absolutely.
Once you make that move, you don't want to second guess yourself, start looking back. You got to stay the course.
Right.
Yeah.
And talking about Brewington, he did that. Our first year that we came to you, I introduced you to him. I said, you give this guy 2 or 3 years, this Smith program is going to be on the map. And certainly it was on the map with Elijah Jordan, Eric Ebron, Jeff Sims, those type of guys. They put that program on the map.
Ramesses Rojas was one of those big kids back in the day.
Ramesses Rojas. That was one of the guys as well on that line.
Daniel Pender passed away. Wow.
Yeah, Pender passed away.
Interesting. Well, what about teams that are looking for a win, like Southern Guilford plays Page tomorrow night. Western Guilford's got North Forsyth. Western and North both 0-5. Got Andrews taking on Jordan Matthews. Both teams, Jordan Matthews has 1 win. Andrews hadn't won a game. Do you see maybe a couple of those teams winning tomorrow night?
Yes. Western Guilford has the better of the 3 of winning with the opponent that they're playing. So Western Guilford, you and I have seen, had the opportunity to see Western Guilford.
They were playing pretty good a couple weeks ago,
They have a back that can go legitimately and start with the Dudley team. He can go and really get a lot of playing time. Could you think about Purnell and a guy like Rush running a wing set or running that double?
I like a guy like Purnell. I mean, the football game and the offenses have really spread out in about past 25 years. I like that guy like a little slot. I just throwing that ball in that slot. That guy takes off. He's got the whole left side of the line blocking from upfield. Just block and go, man.
And you cannot stop him one-on-one. I haven't seen anybody can stop him one-on-one. That little quick hitter because he's so fast. And once he get to that line that you and I talk about, look at Reedsville. Look at Reedsville. Look at Reedsville last year, how they beat Northwest. They was able to beat them by playing a logic game of sideline to sideline.
Right, boundary to boundary.
Absolutely, and they was able to beat them.
What about Southeast going to stay home tomorrow night, hosting Asheboro and Coach Gillespie? Coach Gillespie bringing his Blue Comets from Asheboro. They've won 1, I think lost 4. They're coming out to the Southeast tomorrow night.
The Blue Comets last week, they had a tough game. You and I talked about
that Wheatmore game,
Wheatmore game, they lost, I think, by a touchdown. They've had a lot of close games. And there's another coach that we talked about, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And now it's going to take him some time to turn on the Blue Comets. But Page right now is playing no Jekyll and Hyde anymore. They have their identity with B.J. Turner, who was the Rotary Club Player of the Week a week past when they played Eastern. You and I was wondering what happened to number 3, Tisdale. We was wondering what happened to Tisdale, and B.J.
He was making the plays.
Turner had arrived on the scene, and you have guys now that's stepping up the pace.
They're running away from Tisdale in a lot of cases, running away from him, and they're running right into B.J. Turner.
Yes,
Turner
sir.
took him down and finished him off. So you figure that maybe a pretty good chance Southeast beats Asheboro.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'll give it the way Southeast played 3 quarters against Dudley Panthers. Southeast played, that was the best Southeast 3-quarter team I've seen in a long time.
12-10 ball game, and I think if Rush does not play, if he doesn't play in that game last week, I don't see Southeast falling. I don't think Dudley beats Southeast. I think Southeast probably wins that game if Rush is not out there.
I agree with you, Andy. That is, and Coach Davis, the Dudley staff know that Tariq Rush showed the best ability to win a ball game. That's what a big-time player do. And if you subtract the big-time plays from the big-time player, you have a close ball game. Southeast getting the upset. Southeast upsetting the Kings of Greensboro.
And really, Dudley didn't really get hot with Rush until the ejection of Nigel Pfister. Once he got ejected from the game, that's when Rush and Dudley got very determined. They said, we got to get something done here.
And Andy, there again, we talked about the Clark Kent for Austin Hooker. It was the whole Dudley team. When Nigel Fitzgerald went down, it's almost like the coach said, hey guys, here's the keys to the bus. Are you going to play? And I think they chose the latter. They played, and Dudley showed the best 4th quarter I've seen in high school in a long time.
Again tonight at Kickback Jack's. Later, you got the Rams and 49ers around 8:30 tonight. The kickoff comes up. Got another big kickoff tomorrow night with Grimsley and East Forsyth. How about Grimsley? Grimsley's about time they knocked off a big name team. About time to knock off this East Forsyth Eagle team tomorrow night.
I think that when you and I saw Grimsley play on Labor Day against Eastern, the defense didn't step up. The offense wasn't able. I think that was just an off day for Grimsley. I think that the more the season
they got to get that
on,
quarterback position settled too.
Right.
I think Chris Zealous that night looked the best of the three quarterbacks. They got to get that position settled, and they got to start getting Niall Harris involved.
Yeah, Niall was out. You're not talking to Niall. Matter of fact, and now once is now have he been inserted back?
I think he's back.
Once he's been inserted back into that lineup and get back in his rhythm, he is certainly a weapon. So right now in your sixth game, you need a Niall Harris to be in that mix, and Grimsley can certainly do good things because Coach Brown, this is the time of the year that he put on his best coaching display to show people that, hey, this is what we do in the second half of the season.
And if he could get this team to 3-3 with a big win tomorrow night against East Forsyth, you got the conference games that are coming around the corner. You got teams like Central, you got a chance to beat them. You got a chance to beat Ragsdale. It's going to be tough against Page. You got a chance to beat Northwest. You're playing your right night. So you got some teams you can beat in that conference, and if you get to 3-3, you may be having yourself a chance for a winning season, which would be extremely big for Grimsley.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be huge. That would be exactly what the athletic director Newman would say. This is why we brought Brown here. He will, to the Grimsley faithful, don't lose faith. This man is a winner, and that would help him a lot. And we're talking about building programs. What about the job, Andy, that Tinsley have done at Southeast?
Certainly.
I mean, it's amazing when you see a young guy come his first year playing his alma mater and playing Dudley. I think that everybody in that stand that night was happy that they have a new sheriff in town because he didn't win the game, but he won the quarters and he won the confidence of the fan base, and that's what Brown have to do, continue to win the confidence of the fan base.
What about the teams on the rise right now in the county? Who's on the rise? You may have mentioned one in Southeast. Who's on the rise right now?
Page is on the rise. After that devastating loss, close loss to Dudley, when it looked like they was going to lose to Eastern, they found, as you and I talked about, the identity. Smith is certainly on the rise. And Northeast, when you look at Northeast, and Northeast with Bates, they've won, 2 or 3 how many games that Northeast won?
They have won 3 and lost 1.
And they won more this year than they did 2 or 3?
Past couple of years.
Couple of years. So that is certainly showing Earl Bates left Southern. He went to Southern. Southern program was on the down, going flip-flop, and he was able to get them to the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. Now he's doing it at Northeast. Northeast, when they lost that big game to Eastern due to the lightning delay, I think they gave them confidence that we're not going to get beat this and get embarrassed. And they bought into the system of Bates, and Bates showing to be the one everywhere you go in.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think maybe the total win for last year might have been 4 wins for Northeast, but they're right on the verge of knocking that away with 3 wins so far this year. But how about a team that's on a down right now? Got to get up off that down. Who's down?
When you look at the team on the down, have to be Eastern.
Eastern?
Eastern is certainly the game they should have won. They had opportunity to beat one of the top teams in Greensboro. You and I did something totally different than we've done before. We went almost live.
Yeah, we did. Pulling that off the
and because it was such a close game.
Smith transcribed it to us. Yeah,
absolutely. And that was one that you and I, we made sure we got it. That one time we gave a score from listening to others.
Oh yeah.
But this time
we had to get it right, because there was I think it was about a 3rd or 4th down play from the 29. He went back to the 36 and he ran one more play with no timeouts and got closer for that last field goal, which was blocked.
Absolutely, and I think Eastern need to continue to work hard to get back up.
What about so Eastern's are down. We know Western's down. They haven't won yet. We know Southern's down. They need to get a win. Andrews needs a win.
Absolutely. There again, the coach, when you look at these programs, when the coach's vacancies, and a lot of the kids from Andrews, they are right on the borderline of High Point Central. They are on the borderline of even Ragsdale. So when you look at the demographics of Gifford County, hey, the legal way. They're doing it the legal way. If you move in an area, where the school of your choice is now in that area and you're legally, you can go, and that leaves programs, because a lot of these kids, when coaches go, I'm going.
How about real quickly, Duke versus Carolina on Saturday? Who do you pick there?
Well, Don Moore and I have to go to our Carolina Tar Heels. We're Tar Heels, true to the blue.
How about Wake at Appalachian?
Wake at Appalachian. Let me say this real quickly. Thomas Hennigan, our Northwest, Thomas Hennigan, the guy that you and I love and adore, got touchdown. And Appalachian is playing some great football, but I think Wake and Clausen know the game of ACC. You win, you stay, you lose, you go. He's one of those bubble coaches, believe it, in his mind, if he had to develop this program. So, hey, what are you doing this year? He's winning ball games.
How about NC State, Florida State? In Tallahassee.
Yeah, Florida State, yeah, it's going to be hard to beat.
NC State won last night, 17-16. Back in 2012, it was Mike Glennon to Brian Underwood with about 10 seconds left. I watched it on that replay last night on Stadium TV.
Right.
Check them out. How about New Orleans at the Carolina Panthers on Sunday?
The Panthers have to redeem themselves. The Panthers didn't put up the best display of offense, field goals, and I think Cam Newton have to get in with Benjamin and get in with his receivers, Funches, to make things happen.
And here's a final question for you. Asked this to Josie earlier. Now with Boise State, they're hosting Virginia on Friday night. Virginia's out at Boise State. Boise State's got a dog which retrieves the tee. They've got a retriever instead of getting a retriever. They got a retriever. So if you had to dress up like a dog and they ask you to dress up like a dog, would you dress up like a dog to get the tee?
Yes, I will. For the $100, $75. Yes,
do it. Okay, Dennis will do that inside the feature house. Dennis, tomorrow night we're going to be over at Grimsley, East Forsyth at Grimsley. Looking forward to seeing what the Whirlies can do with those East Forsyth Eagles. Got Coach Aaron Beal, the assistant coach for East Forsyth, has already emailed us the lineup tomorrow night. Coach Beal pumped up about the game. Coach Darryl Brown got an email from him. He's going to send us his lineup as well. They're pumped up for the game. We'll be there looking forward tomorrow night.
Yes, I'm pumped up for the game. I'm looking forward to it. A great game. And to say real quickly, to see all of those guys that came here last week, the guys here tonight, it makes you feel good when you see the Gifford County teams that you and I.
The wild thing is, and I'll say this, maybe in my sleep I'll be talking about this now and I start talking to myself, but seeing Zach White, he came to us as an 8th grader, now see him come through as a senior in high school. That's an interesting progression.
It really is, to see a kid. We was at one location 4 years ago and he's back, and he remembered that first interview, and he was so happy to be here, be amongst Greensboro sports. It's a big thing, as you said, 8th grader to 12th grade. You finish with Greensboro sports the end of your 8th grade year, and you finish the end of your senior year. That is cool, and you keep up with all kinds of stats. So maybe later on we're going to see how many 8th graders.
He had 2 touchdowns and 20 tackles in that game when he came to us back after the 8th grade year. That was that big game he had. We put that on the website. You called me that time. I typed it in. He had 2 touchdowns and 20 tackles in that one game against Ferndale.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And then this week he had the big touchdown against Eastern and their tackles. Wow. So it's something
he had a touchdown this past week.
Yes, had a touchdown.
Defensive touchdown.
Offensive. He ran a 5-yard touchdown.
That may mean he'll seize the ball in his hands maybe some more times.
Absolutely. He had the tie-breaking score. You know, he got the touchdown to put them up by a touchdown, and that sealed the deal for the Golden Eagles. And Andy, real quickly, hats off, thumbs up to another one of our Greensboro sports ties with us, Eric Ebron.
Right,
he had a big game, had a touchdown, and did a nice interview, and remind me of the old days that we interviewed Eric Ebron.
And thoughts again go out to the Daniel Pender family from Smith, the kid that passed away, part of that offensive line back in the Eric Ebron, Elijah Jordan, Jeff Sims days. Definitely thoughts go out to Daniel Pender's family, losing him as he passed away this week.
Yes, and certainly condolences to ties to us and to Gifford County.
I'm gonna close that. I got to close that on an upbeat note. Bobby the Brain Heenan died back around Sunday, 73. Some reports 72 years old. Would he be your all-time best ever professional wrestling manager? Is he the all-time great manager for you?
He have to be. He have to be one of the top, one of the best. You can't find that. He sold wrestling like nobody else did. He made wrestling. Ric Flair made it from a wrestler perspective, from a manager perspective. he used to call the guys out. He
And they
really
called
did a
him,
good
they
job.
called him the Weasel back in the
Yes,
day.
the
Always known
Weasel,
as the
that's
Weasel.
right.
And also known as the Brain. Bobby the Brain Heenan passed away. And again, you got him, you got J.J. Dillon.
How's Ric Flair doing? His condition.
He's doing better. He said, I got to put this quote on the website. Ric Flair said this, and I quote what he said, "I'll never drink again." When he said that, I said, man, that's some kind of, I got to put that quote out there. That's some kind of crazy. Rick said he's finished with that. He's still in a convalescent center in Atlanta. Still got a nurse. They said he was trying to hang on to a cup of water the other day. He was hanging on that water. His hand was shaking so bad he couldn't hardly hang on to the cup of water. So he's coming out of the alcohol problem right now as best he can, trying to kick it, trying to get through it. But again, we wish him the best as he tries to turn it around.
Yeah, and what a great, another good week edition of Football in Focus, and a great job again, our producer, Mr. Carolina, Mr. Reedsville Dunmore,
Getting it done.
and what a great lineup Greensboro Sports have tomorrow.
Zach White, Alex Moore, Christian Cheeks, Joe Sierra, Dennis White, Don Moore, Alex from Kickback Jacks, Kickback and Relax, Kickback Jacks, great food, great fun, and also great football. We'll see you again next week. Thank you much.
Good night.